Belly firmness often comes from visceral fat rather than pinchable fat beneath the skin. Many people misinterpret this firmness as bloating, aging, or posture issues entirely daily mistakenly. Visceral fat can accumulate even when body weight appears normal by standard measures clinical. This makes visceral fat difficult to detect without imaging or careful metabolic assessment methods. Because it is hidden, people underestimate its presence and associated long-term health risks. Understanding this hidden fat explains why belly shape changes despite stable scale readings often. Recognizing visceral fat is the first step toward choosing movement patterns that reduce it. Visceral fat surrounds internal organs behind the abdominal wall rather than sitting beneath skin layers. It wraps the liver, intestines, and pancreas, influencing how these organs function daily metabolically. Unlike passive storage, visceral fat behaves as active tissue, releasing hormones and inflammatory signals. These signals communicate with the liver, blood vessels, and immune system continuously throughout the day. Because of this activity, visceral fat directly affects metabolism, insulin sensitivity, and vascular health. Its location allows rapid signal delivery, making its effects stronger than subcutaneous fat deposits. Understanding visceral fat biology clarifies why reducing it improves health beyond appearance alone. Visceral fat strongly influences inflammation and blood vessel function throughout the body everywhere daily. Its proximity to vital organs amplifies health risks beyond simple fat storage effects greatly. Signals released locally reach the liver quickly, altering metabolism and cardiovascular regulation system balance. This location makes small increases in visceral fat disproportionately harmful over time for health. Inflammatory output from visceral fat contributes to insulin resistance and vascular dysfunction progression risk. These mechanisms explain higher disease risk compared with fat stored under the skin externally. Reducing visceral fat lowers systemic risk markers even without dramatic weight loss changes overall. The body stores visceral fat as a protective adaptation during prolonged low movement environments. When movement is scarce, the body prioritizes energy conservation over immediate expenditure needs physiologically. This response evolved to protect survival during unpredictable food availability and limited activity periods. Visceral fat provides readily accessible energy near vital organs during perceived threats situations internally. This mechanism is biological protection rather than evidence of personal failure or weakness alone. Understanding this reframes belly fat as a signal of adaptation, not moral deficiency judgment. Reducing visceral fat requires changing environmental signals rather than blaming individual behavior patterns alone. Large portions of the population fail to meet basic daily movement guidelines consistently worldwide. Sedentary routines reduce muscle contractions that normally signal energy usage to metabolism throughout the day. Reduced movement shifts the body toward conservation and fat storage over time during adulthood periods. Low daily activity lowers insulin sensitivity and encourages visceral fat accumulation within the abdomen. Without regular movement, the body interprets abundance as risk requiring storage rather than use today. This pattern persists quietly because daily habits change gradually without obvious warning signs appearing. Addressing movement frequency reverses these signals and allows safer energy expenditure across the day consistently. The Japanese interval walking habit was developed through research to improve health outcomes nationwide programs. It alternates faster walking periods with slower recovery walking to challenge metabolism safely, consistently. This pattern differs from steady walking by introducing controlled intensity changes repeatedly over time. The habit was popularized in Japan for aging populations seeking sustainable activity levels daily. It requires no equipment, making it accessible for wide participation across communities nationwide, globally. Sessions typically involve brief, faster intervals, followed by calmer recovery walking phases repeatedly daily. This structure creates manageable stress and recovery cycles suitable for consistent practice long term. Alternating walking intensity sends different metabolic signals compared with maintaining a constant steady pace. These signals influence hormones, enzymes, and fuel selection beyond simple calorie expenditure calculations alone. Faster intervals create demand, while slower periods prevent excessive stress accumulation within the system. This contrast teaches the body to respond dynamically rather than settling into energy-conserving patterns. Steady walking can become predictable, reducing stimulus for metabolic adaptation over time gradually. Intensity variation disrupts this predictability and encourages continued physiological responsiveness. The result is improved fat handling without requiring higher total calorie burn overall. Phase 1. Fast walking signals energy demand. During fast walking intervals, heart rate rises, increasing oxygen demand and immediate energy requirements. This increase signals the body that energy is needed without triggering panic responses unnecessarily. Hormones respond by releasing fuel into circulation to support ongoing muscular work demands efficiently. The response prioritizes availability rather than storage when effort increases briefly during walking intervals. Fast intervals create demand signals while remaining below stress thresholds for most individuals safely. This balance allows fuel release without activating excessive cortisol or defensive mechanisms within body. Phase 1 prepares metabolism for efficient transitions during subsequent recovery walking periods later sessions. Phase 2. Slow walking enables recovery. During slow walking intervals, heart rate decreases, allowing partial recovery without stopping movement entirely. This recovery phase prevents overload while maintaining circulation and metabolic engagement continuously. Stress hormones decline while oxygen delivery remains elevated, supporting efficient fuel utilization patterns. The body integrates effort and recovery signals, improving tolerance to repeated activity cycles gradually. These alternating phases train resilience without exhausting the nervous system or muscles excessively. Slow intervals allow adaptation while preserving consistency across longer walking sessions over time. Recovery periods are essential for sustaining interval walking benefits without burnout or injury risk. Repeated pace changes teach the body to switch efficiently between glucose and fat fuel sources. Metabolic pathways become more flexible, responding quickly to changing energy demands during movement. The liver improves coordination with muscles to regulate fuel delivery smoothly during walking sessions. This training reduces reliance on constant carbohydrate availability for sustained physical activity. Fuel switching efficiency improves without requiring extreme intensity or prolonged exhaustive workouts. Over time, the body learns to access fat earlier during moderate activity bouts consistently. This adaptation supports gradual visceral fat reduction through improved metabolic responsiveness. Multiple studies show interval walking reduces visceral fat more effectively than steady pace walking. These reductions occur even when total energy expenditure remains similar between walking approaches. Interval walking improves insulin sensitivity and fat oxidation more than continuous low-intensity movement. Imaging studies confirm decreases in deep abdominal fat following consistent interval walking protocols. Benefits appear without extreme training volumes or high injury risk over time. This evidence highlights signaling and adaptation rather than calorie burn as key drivers. Scientific results support interval walking as a practical strategy for visceral fat reduction. With consistent practice, cardiovascular fitness improves and walking effort gradually feels easier over weeks. Internal oxygen delivery increases as heart stroke volume and capillary density adapt over time steadily. Muscles become more efficient at using fat while preserving glucose for higher demands later. Recovery between intervals improves, reducing perceived exertion and supporting longer sustainable sessions over time. Mitochondrial function and enzyme activity adapt, enhancing endurance and metabolic flexibility across tissues gradually. These adaptations lower daily stress responses and reduce reliance on high-intensity workouts alone. Consistency drives compounding benefits that make visceral fat reduction more reliable long-term outcomes. Adherence rates remain higher with interval walking compared to continuous high-effort walking routines. Moderate volume combined with brief intensity avoids burnout and supports regular long-term participation. Recovery periods make sessions feel achievable, encouraging people to return consistently week after week. The habit integrates easily into daily life without requiring special equipment or gym access. Sustainable routines matter because visceral fat reduction depends on repetition rather than extreme effort. Interval walking balances challenge and recovery, creating consistency without excessive physical or mental strain. This balance explains why adherence remains strong across different ages, fitness levels, and lifestyles. The body responds best to repeatable challenges that include recovery and predictable rhythm daily. Consistent movement builds trust signals, allowing visceral fat to decrease without defensive resistance responses. Change occurs through rhythm, adaptation, and patience rather than punishment intensity or exhaustion methods. Interval walking succeeds because effort remains manageable while recovery preserves nervous system safety signals. When signals are trusted, metabolism releases stored energy and reduces visceral fat steadily over time. This habit emphasizes alignment, consistency, and recovery, creating results without aggressive forcing daily efforts. Follow this channel for science-explained guidance that makes sustainable fat loss achievable naturally.